How long until Darnold is on the bench and Jalen Milroe is in the lineup delivering footballs to Jackson Smith-Njigba? How long is it going to take? Because I'm hearing all kinds of rumblings all the time about how Darnold isn't necessarily the player that I think that the team believed he was or was hoping he'd be. Not saying that he's dropping the ball yet. Not saying that there's a lot of tangible evidence other than people chattering about it. But this man has seen ghosts for a living up until last year, when in the perfect situation, he brought the Thunder for a big period of time. And hats off to him. He went crazy. You know, Darnold looked fantastic. The Vikings looked as though they were going to bring him back, and they contemplated it even after a unraveling. But there's a report right here that Tom Brady, and I'll read this report right here. The Raiders' minority owner Tom Brady did not want the team to sign Sam Darnold. While many believed inside the Raiders organization and a lot of news wires that the team would try and sign Darnold in Las Vegas, Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl winner, winning quarterback whose opinions held with a whole lot of weight, was not in favor of the move, did not want Sam Darnold on roster. Now, we all kind of feel this way about Sam Darnold. The GOAT's trying to tell you that Sam Darnold isn't the guy. The GOAT's trying to tell you that he didn't want him throwing to Brock Bowers. Now, Tom Brady's not the coach. Tom Brady's not the GM. He's a minority owner with the Raiders. But again, as I just read, a lot of sway. And Tom Brady said this is not the time to go dancing with Sam Darnold, who has left his date lingering around, didn't pick up his date the first time he went to the ball. Second time he went to the ball, but he left early in Minnesota. Now is not the time to try and see if 3 times is a charm. Don't do it, is what Tom Brady said. And the Raiders didn't. The Raiders went a much safer route in Geno Smith. Not saying Geno Smith is a world star, but I do believe Geno will get the football to Brock Bowers. I do believe Geno will matriculate the football down the field enough to give Genty a lot of room. And these chatty Charlies that talk about last year's Raiders team as if they're the same team. Yeah, the Raiders, they don't have an offensive line, Smitty. Raiders defense is horrible, Smitty. They don't have it. Everything's different. The regime is completely different. The coaching staff, everything, the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver room. Like, let's stop talking about the Raiders as if they're going to be the last place team in the league. I look at all the comments. There's so many people that are regurgitating what they hear from another channel about how the Raiders were bad last year. We know the Raiders were bad last year. It's a completely different team. They made the right decision. I'm not saying Geno's great. Again, not a world star, but I do know that this guy's probably going to crumble. And the one player that I do love at the QB position more than most people on planet Earth is Jalen mother freaking midseason monster Milroe. And he's in the bottom right corner here. Jalen Milroe, at some point, and keep this in your noggin when you go super flex drafting in the coming weeks and months. Register it up here. Save it up here. Jalen Milroe starting games in 2025. I don't know how many. I don't have the Gray's Book Sports Almanac yet. I haven't gotten in the DeLorean in a couple weeks, so I don't know truly how this is going to go down yet. But I'll let you know just as soon as I know. Jalen Milroe will start games in 2025. Let's draft. Let's open phone calls. Let's do it live. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So go watch the video that I put up. Who's the next Puka Nacua? Who's the next BTJ? It's one video. It's the same concept as who's the next Bucky Irving. So go check that out. Go do it live. I think you guys will enjoy that video. So go check it out. We'll open up the phone lines here for a few minutes. Jump on into the phone line. We'll get into some underdog drafts in a little bit. Hang tight real quickly, and the phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And let's have a conversation about this if possible. You know, the conversation at play here, whether it's Seattle, whether it's JSN, if you want to just talk about JSN, if you want to just talk about Sam Darnold, if you want to talk about Milroe, you want to talk about Tom Brady, you want to talk about whatever, try and keep it on point. And if you got other questions on top of that, I don't mind helping you, and I don't mind helping anybody anyway, but I would love to tackle something along the lines of the topic at hand. I think Milroe, it's hard to expect anything from Milroe from a non-superflex and redraft, non-superflex, non-best ball environment. You know, it's not something you can count on in redraft, non-best ball, especially non-superflex. You just can't. I've grabbed Milroe plenty of times in non-superflex best ball, and I'm certainly grabbing him like clockwork in superflex best ball. But in best ball 1 QB, Milroe's crazy to pick. It is. It's a crazy pick, but uniqueness sometimes is needed. And if you believe in Jalen Milroe like I believe in Jalen Milroe, then from a non-superflex best ball perspective, he is unique. And sometimes you get to the very end of round 18, you only have 2 QBs. If you're like me, you always roll with 3 QBs. So Milroe sometimes is the best option there because I believe that he's starting games in 2025. I believe that he has a ton of upside and ability. I believe that Jalen Milroe is going to turn, he's AR5, he's the next AR5 people into foolish people that are going to come back and lick their wounds and if they don't scatter. Let's jump into a schnauzer before they close. I think I only have one left anyway, so hit the schnauzer button. For those that aren't signed up in advance, do this so you don't miss the next one. Click this link. They'll fill quickly. It just filled. That's how fast it went. But jump in a draft alongside of us if you didn't get in the draft that I'm in. Sometimes when I jump in, there's literally only 4 spots left. I can't see how many people are how many spots are available when I jump in. So sometimes it only has 4. You guys grab them very quickly. If you get into a draft right alongside, that will be just fine. You'll have plenty of fun applying the logic and conversation. A lot of you will be in the same draft. You'll get stuck in there together. So it'll be fun to conversate about the said draft. I think I got the number 6 pick finally, instead of getting this damn 11 and 12 and 10 all the time when I'm drafting with you guys. So this will be fun. Phone lines are open. Like I said, Milroe season at some point will be in full effect. And people that are comparing Milroe to AR5 don't know what they're talking about. Code Smitty gets it done. Underdog Fantasy. I'll pin the link in the live chat. Make sure you click this link and sign up for tomorrow so you're not left hanging and you can't draft. Kevin, in round 18, like I said, if you have left your third quarterback spot open and there's no starters or viable starters, like even if Aaron Rodgers is there, I'd rather have Milroe than Aaron Rodgers in a lot of ways. This is a schnauzer draft, and in this tournament, you've got 100K going to first place. So this will be fun. Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua. Can't seem to ever get Lamb or JJ these days, but that's okay. We could try and build I do love neighbors here, but I'm going to go Gibbs. I don't have a ton of Gibbs the last couple of weeks anyway. And his ADP is moving around the board, so I'm going to build a very different team with Gibbs than I've built in previous Gibbs, situations. Why? Because he's in a different place on the board. So whenever you see a player moving around the board, you've been rocking with me for 2-ish years now, Bryce. Bryce, appreciate you. Whenever you see a player move around the ADP board, especially in round 1 and 2, try drafting them again once they've moved a significant amount. You might think, I already got a lot of shares of them. but you don't have a lot of shares of that player in their new said spot, which is going to land you different pairings that you don't have a lot of exposure to. So definitely grab, some Gibbs action if you've already kind of, wet your beak on a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs built teams. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know what I'm going to do here. If London will probably be gone, I imagine Bowers and Achane will be gone. It's kind of tough to predict what's going to happen here, but what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Do I go RB? I don't hate going RB, to be honest. It doesn't always feel right if you don't land the right wide receiver around 3 or 4, but look, best player available is going to sometimes lead to some uncomfortable builds. It is what it is. Look at these wide receivers, 7 straight wide receivers. Bowers will still be on the board, but it is a risky proposition to go 0 wide receiver through the first 2 rounds when you're going Brock Bowers. I love Brett Bowers, but if you go like wide receiver Bowers, almost a little bit better. I'm going to go Bucky here. Let's try an RB, robust RB approach. Will Milroe fall on waivers? Yeah, Milroe will be on the waiver wire, preemptive waiver wire show. We've already done one of those, and we talked about it. We'll do another one with Milroe on it. We'll probably have Milroe as one of the top pickups of the week for multiple weeks, bro. He's not in a secure spot right now, so he will not be, he will not be on a lot of teams. Love the consistency. Thanks again, Bryce. Appreciate you. Jalen in the 18th is definitely decent, bro. Rashee Rice is somebody I contemplated, but, I mean, God, it just sucks he's climbing so high. We'll see what happens here. Part of me is even, contemplating. Look at Marvin Harrison Jr. climbing. And depending on the draft that you're in, his ADP is fluctuating a little bit. Garrett Wilson, the wide receivers are not falling much. So it does appear, to be honest with you, in this, like I said, best player available sometimes guides you down a path that is an uncomfortable build, but you still are getting the best value at every pick. The question is, can you fill your hole, your distinct, massive hole that sometimes, not always, best player available can create for you? Can you fill it in a proper way? Now, this is going to probably be okay. Because unless, this guy is a show guy, he might be. Okay, so he's not. I mean, I like Kyron here. I like a lot of players here, but JSN is still a wide receiver 1. So I think I got skated by okay. I was about to say before my pick, because I didn't think JSN would fall, that this running back approach from the 6th slot right now with the way the ADPs have settled the last couple of days and changed might not be the most optimal way to draft, but look, I got JSN. I'm fine. I think JSN could be a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. He was number 7 last year. So, and for anybody that thinks, well, Smitty, this is kind of ironic. You're liking JSN when you're telling us Darnold's not going to be that good. Look, if Darnold can get the ball to JSN enough to keep his job for a while. Remember, Kirk Cousins didn't get benched until the final 3 games. Let's not pretend Darnold has to go in week 1. He drops some bad numbers or loses some games, he can still feed JSN. But JSN will be better, most likely, with Milroe, who can throw the ball down the field like no other. Okay, so there is definitely a rhyme and reason. Definitely a reason to take JSN in round 3. Because he just as easily could be sitting there in Rice's 22 overall ADP. JSN could just as easily be in that 21 overall Marvin Harrison spot. So to get him in round 3, I feel blessed. DK Metcalf is pretty nice here. Xavier Worthy is pretty nice right here. He'll probably go at this pick, I imagine. If Worthy doesn't, I'm strongly going to consider Worthy right here, but he'll probably go Jameson Williams. Travis Hunter or Xavier Worthy. Chat, what do you think? 12 seconds. There's a little bit of a YouTube delay. I don't know that I'm going to get it. I'm going to go ahead and take Worthy because I have so many shares of Travis, and I love both of them. But I'm curious what you guys want. Worthy, Hunter, so far split with the responses. I got so many Hunter shares, it doesn't bother me at all. But I think I'm going to try and stack Mahomey and Worthy here, so that's why I did this. I love Hunter, and there's a little bit of a itty-bitty, tiny chance that Hunter could fall back to me, but probably not going to happen. Definitely Worthy wouldn't have fallen back. And I could have gone either way. I love both of them. They're absolute studs. The reason I think Hunter could fall back to me is that there's a lot of negativity brewing again on Travis Hunter, which is ridiculous. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
A lot of people. George Pickens went. See, Hunter's been sitting at the top for about 3 picks now. That's what I'm talking about. Well, he won't last for very long. I don't think he'll go. I mean, I've seen crazier things. There he goes. Hunter falling a little further than that. No running backs through 5 rounds, and then you've got to go all the way down 5 and all the way back is just reckless drafting. I'm sorry, bro. Whoever's drafting at the 1. You got great wide receivers, but are your wide receivers really going to be that much better than mine? Because they better be, or I'm going to annihilate you at the RB position. And will you annihilate me back at the wide receiver position enough to make up for it? I don't know. I don't think so. Now, Jalen Hurts, he just went. Tempting. Burrow's tempting here, but I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to take a man that is about 6 spots down in RJ Harvey. One of the H and Associates right here.
In a jam, call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
River, you are live, young man. What can I do for you?
Yeah, so I made the trade in my Dynasty League. Got rid of Goff and St. Brown and Jackson Dart for Michael Penix, Marvin Harrison, and $100 of his fab.
Nice,
what do
bro.
you think?
I think you got him pretty good. Say that one more time. It was Goff and JSN?
No, St. Brown.
St. Brown. Sorry. Goff and St. Brown for Marv.
And Jackson Dart for Marvin Harrison and Michael Penix and $100 of
And it's super flex though, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Dynasty. Okay. I like that because I'm not a fan of Goff's future. I'm just not without Ben Johnson there. I think it's gonna fall apart. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Marvin Harrison Jr. are not going to be that far apart in dynasty minds moving forward. Now, someone might say that you could have got more, potentially, because one could argue Goff and Penix are not any different. I would, but I'm saying one might, and then someone's going to tell you St. Brown over Marv, and so the $100 fab might not be enough. But I like it. I would have tried to get a little more, but I still like it. Man, Joe Burrow is still sitting here. Hold on a second. I can't pass on Joe Burrow here, regardless of the plan. I mean, I still can stick to the plan. Mahomes becomes my bully QB. But Joe Burrow in the middle of 6 is just filthy. Joe Burrow, RJ Harvey, Xavier Worthy, JSN, Bucky Irving, Jahmyr Gibbs, freaking filthy. All right, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I tried to switch his first for my second, but he wasn't going for it. So that's why I just switched it up for the $100 in fab.
Yeah, and that could, bro, that could be the next Bucky. I've done a video on that. I'm sure you know. And the video goes, basically summary, Cliff Note version is that if you control double of everybody else's fab, and then, bro, work on the next couple of months or whatever to just get another $5, another $4.
Right, yep.
And that way you can drop, you know, a 101 and 101 fab drops twice. And I wouldn't use my fab unless somebody drops somebody now that's significant. I wouldn't use any of my fab, bro. I would save it, and I would make 2 $101 drops on the next Bucky Irving, the next Achane, the next Puka Nacua. They're always out there, bro. Almost every single year, there's 1 or maybe 2 players that are top 10-ish players. Hold on a second. on a bully QB yet. Now, I'm running a little bit of a risk, a little bit at my wide receiver spot, but to be honest with you, looking at Jaden Reed, Shakir, Diggs, Ayuk, Darnell Mooney, those are the immediate top 5 wide receivers listed. I'm not cherry picking or just listing off guys I don't like. Those are the top guys. You see it right here, actually. I'm sorry. I forgot I added that to the screen. You see that there. I'm not worried about losing out on any of those players. The guy I want here maybe would be Laporta, who just went. But I could also get Kelsey and I'll be fine. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. What were you saying?
I also made a trade last week. Kenneth Walker and a first for a Hindi.
I mean, I like Hendy more than Walker. The first rounder is a lot to give up, though. I mean, bro, some people might say you could do that straight up. Yeah, Ibuka got sniped for me, guys. What can I do? How can I, when I got people in here and they're drafting the show guys like rounds and rounds early, there's nothing I can do. I just got to keep bobbing and weaving, which is fine. I haven't missed a beat, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, it might be a little bit much, bro. I'm not saying it won't be worth it, but I would strongly consider that too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people that overpays a little bit to get the boys that I want. Plus, I don't have a lot of time, so sometimes I'll overpay on a trade just because I won't be able to circle back at all. Because I'm just too busy. Barely set my lineups in some of these leagues. I just can't. That's why I try to cut back. But anyway, yeah, I mean, look, Walker could be worth nothing by week 5, or he could be a top 7 running back. I think his story is still to be told. Hard to say where his story is going to go. He could get traded by week 5. He could be injured entering week 1 and Sharps could start, or it's just so tough to know, man. I don't think you made a mistake. I just think you maybe could have got more. That's all.
I still have Charbonnet on my team too, though.
Yeah. All right, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Appreciate
Call
it.
back if you got another one. All right, phone lines are open. Dial in. Oh man, Smitty, do you like Kittle's value? It's Kittle's value's, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It just depends where he goes. Round 4 is fine. Round 3, I don't love. On the clock right here, I got Travis Kelce, but I'm going to go Coleman here. I really like Keon Coleman still. I still like him.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Not the worst gamble to take. You know what I'm saying? As your wide receiver 3. At all. Not the worst gamble to take at all. John, you are live, young man. What can I do for you?
Hey, I had a Dynasty trade question. I own Kenneth Walker, and I'm thinking about trading for Sharps and sending away Johnny Smith to get Sharps. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Look, I do like Johnny Smith a lot. I'm not trying to say I don't, but I'd rather have Charbonnet. Charbonnet, okay. A league winner. I think it depends on what your tight end situation looks like, but tight ends are really cheap right now, bro. It's not hard to grab a solid guy.
Yeah, I got Warren and Kincaid, and I'm thinking since on Underdog, I mean they're just looking at like where the money's at. Like everyone's right around like tight end 10 between Jonnu, Warren, and then Kincaid. So if I send Jonnu, I was like, it probably won't change my tight end situation a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think too? If I sent, what do you think about Trey Benson as well? Do you like him?
Love him. Go watch my next Bucky Irving video. You'll see Tootin on there. You'll see Charbonnet on there. You'll see a handful of those guys. Jaden Blue I love as well. But yeah, go watch that video. You'll see all those boys on there.
Okay. All right. And one other thing too, you sort of talked about it a little bit in your last call, but what do you think the outlook is on like the Seahawks backfield? Like, do you see Kenneth Walker getting re-signed if he balls out, or do you think he's out of there? Or?
I think they could try and trade him. I just don't know if there's a market for that. We'll have to kind of see how it goes, but certainly a player that could be traded. One of the main running backs that have the ability to be traded this year. Maybe I'm just trying to spitball a landing spot. Injury could open the door, but maybe like a Commanders might be interested. Maybe, somebody goes down and they make a trade. But, the thing about it is, like, you got Sharbs there. Sharbs is proven. Walker's not this regime's guy. And I could easily see them deciding to go in the direction of just putting it all on Sharbs. And then getting another back, drafting another back. Look, backs are so cheap in the draft. I mean, look at all these running backs that fell in the 2025 NFL draft, where these running backs were amazing, bro. Amazing, one of the most amazing running back classes. So you could let Walker go. You could trade him for a draft pick. You could trade him for a draft pick that you draft the running back at. They could get a third or fourth. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't try to get more, but it depends how he's playing. But you go get a third or fourth round pick for Walker or whatever it is, and you just draft his replacement. I'm not saying I don't like Walker. It's just he's had a tough time staying healthy, and he's already injured right now. And Sharbs is a proven running back. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Walker. If Walker stays healthy, he's got the capability of being a straight-up savage. But so does Sharbs. But if you look at their profile here, together they were running back 5 if you add up all of their points and only use one running back per week. You don't double dip or anything. But Sharbs is running back 2 if you take his 5 games. So, but I love Walker. I'm never going to say a bad thing about Walker. I just I kind of want them both on different teams so that we could get speaking of Jaden Blue, I'll take him right here. I love the squad so far. Let me review the team real quick. Hold on one second, bro. I got Gibbs, Bucky, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Worthy, RJ Harvey, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Keon Coleman, Zach Charbonnet, Hollywood Brown, Jaden Blue. Pretty damn good. I wish I'm not going to lie, I would rather have a little bit stronger wide receiver 1 and 2, but I love JSN. I love JSN. I love Worthy. So it's not bad. But, would I rather it be London and Rice? Yes. I would rather have London and Rice, but I still like the team, and I can't have London and Rice because I have Bucky, who I took. So, of course, I can't take London or Rice. London and Rice are now second rounders, but there was a day when I could pull this exact team off with better wide receivers or safer, higher-end wide receivers that have since climbed. Hold on one second, bro. Let me merge this call. All right, hang tight there, John. Let me go over to River one more time. But River, let me make this pick real quick. Hold on a second. I don't love this pick, but I want another tight end that I can. I don't want to say I can trust Kyle Pitts, but I trust Penix Jr. And so I'm going to choose to trust Kyle Pitts as my second tight end. And I kind of want a little bit of a watered-down bully tight end situation since they've got that going on with my QBs. All right, go ahead, River.
So the same guy just sent me an offer. He wants Mike Kelsey, and he'll give me Sampson in a third. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably take that as long as you've got the tight end position covered.
Yeah, I got Tyler Warren, Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, you're fine.
And,
of course.
Yeah.
Smash that.
Right,
I mean, I like Dylan Sampson a lot. And, just to be fair to him, I don't mind that trade for him if he's in win now mode. He's got Mahomes or something and wants to, to get the crew together. Although in non-best ball, stacking does not help you like people think it does. But yeah, I don't mind that trade at all.
Except on that, then.
Yeah, you don't need Kelsey. All right, later, bro. Call back if you got another one. All right, John, anything else?
Yeah, no, just what you were saying earlier about Canine, I agree 100%. I think he's a beast. He's just made of glass. But yeah, I mean, I hope too. Like if the Seahawks, if they cut him loose, that'd be ideal. And sort of why I like the idea of trading for Sharps there, because I mean he's incredibly talented as well. Do you think if you had to choose between trading away Jonnu Smith or Kincaid, which would you pick to get Sharps?
Oh, I'd trade away Kincaid. It, as much as that pains me to say, look, I'm an adjust and adapt guy. I know some people think I stick to my guns and I dig in. And the funny thing about that is when people think that I double down or I'm just digging my heels in, it's so weird that people don't think for a second like, well, maybe he believes this. Maybe he's not letting go, because I'm very, very good at changing directions. And I always cite the Kenneth Walker, while as ironic as it is, that Kenneth Walker changed in direction 2 years ago. Or was it last year? I think it was last year. What year was it that Kenneth Walker started off with the most touchdowns in the NFL? Like the first month. Was it last year? Okay, yeah. Sometimes my years mesh together. But it was last year. You're right. It was take Kenneth Walker. Take Kenneth. 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Regardless, take Kenneth Walker. Take Kenneth Walker. Take Kenneth Walker. I couldn't. I was so supportive of him. I couldn't have been more supportive of a player. I like Michael Wilson Jr. a lot right now, by the way. I couldn't have been more supportive of a player than Kenneth Walker, and he couldn't have delivered upon said expectation. I want to say, Travis, do you have a way of looking up how many touchdowns he had in that first 4 or 5 weeks?
I'm looking right now.
I want to say I think it was leading the league. I want to say it was 6 touchdowns in 4 games or 5 in 4. It was balling. And off of the last big game, I think he had another good yardage game, if I remember correctly, right after I said it, to be fair and be honest. But I said, guys, after week 4, week 5, we got to trade him. And I had people going ballistic in my live chat. How dare you? How could you? You said he was great. Why would you change your mind? Why would you do that? Why would you not stick with him? And I'm just thinking to myself, you really want somebody that just sticks to their preseason call? Why would you follow somebody that's yeah, we said it, so we're going to do it? Travis.
He had 6 touchdowns in his first 5 games, and then after that, he had 26 for 105, and then he dropped off.
Yeah. So he had 6 TDs in the first 5 games, and I said, let's sell him.
It was actually, he had no touchdowns the first week, and from there he went 2-2-1-1. So it was actually 6 in 4 weeks.
And I said, after this 5th game, I said, sell him. And people went ballistic. Yep. And the next week, he had 100 yards. I remember that. And some people were like, wait a minute, you said sell him. He's still cooking, Smitty. I said, sell him. And what did he do? He tanked. I said all offseason, grab him. He's going to do this. And he did it. But that's the whole thing. You have to adjust and adapt in this thing we do. You have to. If you don't, you're going to be left behind. And sometimes it's a hard reality. Real quickly, hold on. I think I'm good by week 8, by week 9, by week 12, by week 8, by week 10. I'm good at RB. I got 2 by week 10 quarterbacks in Burrow and Mahomes, so I got to address that. I got Kelsey by week 10. I got Kyle Pitts by week 5. I think I could maybe go Gray or somebody just to really cover that and cuff it, and then go quarterback. So I've got 2 more picks, I think. Yeah, 2 more picks so I can get the quarterback and the tight end. All right. Anyway, so adjust and adapt is the key to everything. And it's not, and the people that really came at my neck and said, why would you tell us to trade him? What do you want me to say? What I said the preseason, it's not going to come true, but I'll ride the ship into the ground, into the ocean. Like, what do you want? You want somebody that's going to adjust and adapt. And I urge all of you to do that. But I think, why was I even talking about that? I was trying to say that people think I dig my heels in when I say Kincaid. Yeah.
About Kincaid or John.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'm on the clock right now. Do I take Shedeur or Milroe? Do I take the man of the hour?
Yeah.
Let's take Milroe. Take Milroe. Let's do it live. So Kincaid, yeah. If I'm such a dig my heels in kind of guy, why am I not on the Kincaid train? Because I don't feel it. Javonte was one of my favorite players many years ago. Big predictions for him, tore his ACL. I can't control that, but he's never been the same since. He's never been trusted since. He's never been in a good situation that's been consistent. I mean, and as much as I want to believe in him in Dallas, I'm drafting nothing but Jaden Blue right now. I have a couple of shares of Javonte, and I will admittedly get on the train and say I was wrong, but get on the train and say, I'm here, guys. I didn't get a ticket. I snuck on, and I'll admit it. I won't be pretending like I've said that this is the year Javonte, but I'll be very excited for him. I'll be very proud of him. I'll be like a proud papa clapping, but I'm drafting Jaden Blue. And I'm drafting Charbonnet almost not at the same degree, but close to it. Drafting Charbonnet with not much Walker. And I'm drafting Blue with almost zero Javonte. That's adjust and adapt, baby, if I've ever seen it. Kincaid, I want to believe in Kincaid. I really, really do. And I liked Kincaid. And I don't feel I was wrong about Kincaid. Just like I don't feel I was wrong about Keon Coleman. What I was wrong about was how Buffalo attacks, the situation. And it's not just Josh Allen. We've seen Josh Allen deliver the football to Diggs over and over and over. I don't know it's hard to pinpoint exactly what's going on. Hopefully, a lot of it has to do with that it takes a while for Josh Allen, like it did Aaron Rodgers until Christian Watson. It took Aaron Rodgers at least a year or two. Like there was no rookie that was going to do well in an Aaron Rodgers offense. Period. You should never have expected ever a rookie wide receiver to do well with Aaron Rodgers. So I kind of feel like it's not just a rookie for Josh Allen. You can't expect Josh Allen to like a new player. So whether that's going to be a rookie or a guy like Amari Cooper who got traded, over to the Buffalo Bills and did nothing. But it looks like he doesn't trust you on the field. But what's so odd, though, this is why I love Keon Coleman still. I still love him. I saw Josh Allen connect with Keon. I saw Josh Allen love the hell out of the guy. And the fact that Keon talks about his film looking like trash and he's never going to do that again, I like that. I like that he's taking ownership of it. So we'll see what happens. But it's not something that, that we can predict. But here's my team right here. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and then Milroe's my bye week guy. And you could say that's a little dangerous, but by bye week 10, I think Milroe's in there. So this is the theme of the show anyway, so why not ride and die off Milroe a little bit. Gibbs, Bucky, Harvey, Sharbs, Jaden Blue, feeling that running back stable, feeling that quarterback stable. This is looking pretty good for my last. Schnauzer, JSN Worthy, Keon Coleman, Hollywood, Pat Bryant, Michael Wilson, and Yoshi Voss to pair with my Joe Burrow. I got Kelsey, Pitts, and Gray. It's good. Again, it's not that I don't believe in JSN and Worthy. I love both of them. I will admit, though, that I was building this exact same team with MHJ and other players. Part of me wonders, because you guys know how much I love Hunter. If I had Hunter instead of Worthy, would I like the team better? Would I not? I don't know. But it's a good squad. Very good squad. And I could have avoided Harvey here and took Hunter or took Worthy earlier or something, and then took Hunter and had Hunter, Worthy, and JSN. But I kind of like how it worked out. I like Harvey so much. It's a good team. This is a really good team. I like it. They never project my teams to do well, though, by the way, because I own a lot of rookies on almost any team. I do Milroe Szn. I do, cuffing of Gray with, none of my strategy they like, and that doesn't bother me at all. There have been plenty of of successful drafts we've had. So, and not to mention, we're all still learning. Like, when someone says they know everything about best ball, we don't. And not to mention, even if you knew a ton, you won a big amount of money the year prior. And, I've done pretty good. I've had some good years. I haven't won first in anything yet, but there's only one first place winner in these big tournaments. So to be a Best Ball Mania winner over the last 5, 6, how are you going to do it? You got to be one. If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby told you this. But like, even in some of the other, like the big boards, I was in 30,000 cash money placing. I was in the top, 10 in that big board. And, I ended up getting, I think it was 1,500 in that one particular draft. But I mean, the strategies we deploy here, I think are right on the money for what can help you get a strategical advantage, because a lot of times we swim against the current. We draft against traffic, and that's where I think we get a lot of advantages. I think someone from this year on one of the bigger tournaments from our crew, and by the way, we have a lot of people that win first place that watch this channel, by the way. We've had several weekly winner people that watch this channel. We have, what's his name? Harrison. Harrison's in here. He's won weekly winners. I think he almost won it twice, or he might have. But he watches religiously. We've had two other people win weekly winners that watch this channel, and they say, I watch only this channel. So we have a lot of success in this channel for best ball. But my point is, even if I had, let's say I had won a tournament. Let's say I won the little big board. I don't even have to win Best Ball Mania. I still walk into each new season at a similar place as other people, and I have to look at the ADP, and I think that when you use last year's data, that is a bad way to approach it, unless you're just letting it help guide you on a few very noticeable and helpful things. But when people say last year the winner of this it went wide receiver, I laugh in the face of that thinking. When someone says you have a 19% chance of getting into the finals if you grab Burrow and Jamar Chase, and you have a only 7% chance if you grab Josh Allen and Jamar Chase, I laugh in your face. I laugh in your face, because you use last year's data and some stacking statistics on things with variables you can't control, like what these teams look like outside of that damn stack, and injuries that might have struck. Have you ever thought about investigating what person almost won Best Ball Mania if they hadn't had their quarterback go down? Like, let's say Christian McCaffrey last year. What did the Christian McCaffrey teams look like if they had a player that scored as top 3 running back scoring? Would they have won Best Ball Mania? Like, no one looks at those things. So just because a strategy doesn't win, you don't know that someone just got bad luck and would have won it if they hadn't got hit with injury. There's so many reasons not to look at last year's data, other than to help guide you a little bit on some, hey, I've noticed that if you go 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks, you are statistically more likely, not because of the players necessarily, but because of the fact that you have that optimal scoring that gets you into a higher echelon of quarterback scoring, even when you might have lesser quarterbacks. There's certain things you can definitely take in, but a lot of those things you're taking in as a general from year to year. You can copy and paste it each year as an advantage, or something you notice when everybody's going wide receiver heavy. Like I do a lot of going against traffic, but it also depends on if you're going to get sniped out of all the wide receivers. Then you kind of have to go with traffic at times. There's so many different obstacles, variables, different things to look at. Sick Nasty with a super chat here, and then I'll go to Travis for a response. 26 and 27 first rounder and ETN for Bucky. As long as you don't think that's Jeremiah Smith or a top 2 or 3 pick, like if this is your pick and you're making your team better and you're going to be fine, I'd smash it. I'd roll the dice on that. I don't care. I'm not playing for 2 years out. I'm playing for now. And Bucky, I'm taking a Bucky bath right now tonight. I'm taking a Bucky bath. Take a Bucky bath right now.
Get buckied. Buckied.
What's up, Travis?
Plus, Bucky should be, fine for you for the next 2 to 3 years anyways. barring disaster. So even if, those picks, I wouldn't worry about it.
Auction draft, how do I do? Caleb, I don't like Caleb, so you're already off to a bad start, Andrew. Jacobs, K9. Those are 3 players I'm not. I mean, you Andrew, I appreciate you, and you give me a $5 super chat. You know I want to give you what you want, but I'm always honest. Always. I can tell you haven't watched my channel because your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks in a row. Caleb, Jacobs. I'm not saying Jacobs is trash. I'm just saying I worry about him this year enough to go with other options that seem safer. Caleb, Jacobs, K9. I like Puka. That's fine. Tyreek. I love Rice. I like your team. I would have gone a different way with some of these players. I would have went for Bucky or Brees instead of Jacobs. I would have went for Harvey or Hendy instead of Jacobs to get more money to upgrade Tyreek into a Travis Hunter or a Marvin Harrison Jr. That's the only thing I would have done. Or K9 into Harvey. Something like that. Or Caleb into Mahomes. That's the only thing I would have done. But it's not a bad team. I'm not saying that it's a bad team at all. It's not my cup of tea. And I can tell you haven't been around. And it's not like you can't have your own opinion either. I'm not saying that, because you didn't draft my team, you're not watching my show. But I'm just saying, if you're asking me how do I like your team, and literally like 4 or 5 of the first 6 guys I clearly am all out on this year, then I know you haven't watched. But we'll welcome you back, Andrew. You take my advice to help guide you, not change your mind. And I'm super glad to have you back, my boy. ETN 26 first. Is second for the 1.8. So you're getting Harvey or Buka. I'm okay with that too, but I'd rather a Bucky. If that helps. Let me go to Rock Out real quickly, and then I'll circle around the phone line, and I'm probably going to jump a little bit early tonight. I mean, we're live for 47 minutes. It's one of our shorter shows, but we'll go here a couple more minutes. But hit that thumb up button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. We're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm live tomorrow at least twice, or a video, probably 2 live streams tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed if you're new. We're live more than anybody. Rock Out real quickly if you can, my boy.
Can I give you my team?
Sure.
All right, quarterback, Mahomes, Penix, Milroe. Running back, Irving, Hubbard, Henderson, Jenkins, Charbonnet. Wide receiver, Puka, JSN, Debo Samuel, Burden, Bryant, Wilson, Yoshi Vach, Kelsey, Goddard, and Gray.
I like it, bro. I like it. And then real quickly before I nudge you off the phone line, prediction with Darnold. Jalen, Milroe, and Darnold together. Darnold. Prediction for Darnold and Milroe. And Walker.
For Walker, 708. Then
No. Like, does Walker get traded? Does he not get traded? And when and if? Like, what's going to happen with Milroe? Does he get in there? And if so, when?
Milroe, week 8.
Walker?
Unfortunately, I think he stays, but unfortunately.
Okay. All right, Rock Out. Anything else? Appreciate you, bro.
That's it for right now.
All right. Call him tomorrow, though. Appreciate you. Travis, final thoughts? Anything else?
Just real quick, when you were talking about year to year on the best ball, it's hard to go off of the year before. And like, if you look at it in 2023, the difference between the number 1 wide receiver and the number 2 wide receiver was like 25 points. This year it was almost 100 points. And it was switched at running back, where 2023 with CMC, he was 100 points better than Breece Hall, but the wide receivers that year, were closer. And then this year, the running backs were closer. So every year it varies, that difference between if you're drafting, the number 1 wide receiver, the number 3 wide receiver, the number 6 wide receiver.
It's a
point difference. You can't predict it.
It's like the wind. It's like a vortex. You just don't know which way it's going to push you. And if you go by last year, I mean, look at the perfect example is 2024 wide receiver rookies were straight fire. And the running backs, I'm not saying that there aren't good running backs. Obviously, Bucky, like we got a good crew, but the prospects and everything. And then the 2025, and I think the same thing will happen. We'll get great prospects from the 2025 wide receiver class. It just didn't feel like it was as good, but I think Hunter and Book are both going to be amazing. But the running, like there's just a lot of cycles and stuff. And it's weird that people take last year and they literally try and forecast and architect something off of data from last year. It's almost like when people talk about the Raiders, or when people talked about the Washington Commanders. Their offensive line's bad. JD5's going to get hammered. They're not going to do good. The Commanders are years away from being good. That's what people told me. That's what people told all of us, and we laughed in their face. And we said, you don't know what you're talking about. JD5 merely being on the field improves the offensive line to the tune of like double the production. I mean, it's crazy to me, bro. Last year. We used a lot of stuff from last year, but you've got to be selective with it. It's got to make a lot of sense. It's got to make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Using last year about Ben Johnson being an amazing OC and them losing him, we apply that. That's almost the inverse of it, but we apply. Last year, Ben Johnson was great. This year, Ben Johnson is not there. You have to use last year. You have to use stuff. But when people have no tangible like evidence to support the last year claim of some kind, it's wild to me. And this question here, Scott, I see your question. I asked this question on a few live streams now. Why is Smitty so high on Mahomes? Why are you not high on Mahomes? Because other people say that he hasn't been good for 2 years? What is that? How does that cement him into his future value? How does 2 years of bad wide receiver luck, injury striking the wide receiver room, not having enough wide receivers the year before, how does what Mahomes has done his whole entire career, but the most explainable 7 and 10 finishes in 2023 and 2024, how do you look at this and say he can't get back to 1, 4, 3, 1? He was one of the best he was a top 4 quarterback, bro. Not top 5, top 1 to 4 quarterback, and he's only had 2 years where he still was top 10. And even if I'm wrong and you get him in 7 right now in a best ball, like you say, why does Smitty love Mahomes so much? In a draft where I got him in the middle of mother freaking 7th round. In the mother freaking middle of the 7th round. Like how is that even like, obviously you haven't watched much of my shows and I appreciate you being here and I hope, Scott, you can absorb a lot more. But if you haven't seen a lot of my Mahomes content to hear the explanations, then really you only have to go off of a few things, right? Like, hey, you took him in the middle of round 7, but you watching me take Mahomes in the middle of round 7 has you begging the question, why does Smitty love Mahomes in round 7 so much? He earns that, my boy. He earns that on a disappointing year. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get how he doesn't look like a gold mine. Scotty, he has a top 4 wide receiver room. He has one of the top 4 wide receiver pass catching rooms in the National Football League. He's going to go crazy. He's going to go
especially
crazy.
Because of that, too. If you look at it, one of the biggest things the past 2 years was, his yards were down, but his touchdowns. He went from 38, 37, 41 down to 27 and 26.
Yeah.
Because they were, they didn't have pass catchers. So anytime they got inside the 10, they were just running the ball and running it in.
Yeah.
And so he was losing points on touchdowns.
Yeah. And the whole notion of that they don't need to score as many points here, that's not how football works. They had to adjust and adapt because they didn't have the personnel. But what did they do when they got in the playoffs? They were scoring more points. Worthy was going crazy. Worthy was a top 2 wide receiver in his 5 last played games. 2 regular season play games. Then they didn't play their starters. And then 3 playoff games. Worthy was wide receiver 2, and Mahomes was going nuts because he had his weapons firing off. And he didn't even have Rashee Rice. You know,
And you've said,
it's just, I don't know. There's only
said
so
it
much.
before. Brady did it before too, and the Patriots used to do that, where if they had to, they would just run and they'd grind it out. If you look at Brady's finishes, he had years when he was 11, 12, 18, 15, and all the rest of the years he's a top 5 or 6 QB in fantasy.
And Scott,
Those years mixed in.
your comment here, it just makes me feel like you have no shares of him, so you're trying to kind of like justify it because you're sitting here saying his weapons are very boom or bust. How?
Right.
Worthy was just getting going. Worthy was the most consistent wide receiver, other than he was number 2, the second most consistent wide receiver in the NFL in his last 5 played games in his rookie year, where he started to get consistent. So when people say Worthy's sporadic, you have good games and bad games, what are you talking about? And Rashee Rice was on pace, ready to go to be a top 5 wide receiver. And he got injured. Mahomes ran into his knee. I don't think that's boom or bust, bro. I think the year prior plus what he did right away proved us right. He's a top 5 to 10 guy. And the ADP where Rice is going around middle of round 2 right now is suggesting more. I got to run real quick, Travis. Anything else? I'll be back tomorrow, though.
No. If you got to go, I'm good. I'll talk to you later, Smitty.
Cool.
Thanks.
I'll see you guys all on the
Bye.
Patreon. All right, later, Travis. I'll be on the Patreon, guys. I'm always on the Patreon after the shows go down. Patreon. $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Do it live. Here's the Patreon link. 24/7 live chat. In fact, I'm going to go in there right now and type. I'm going to go in there and type right this very second. I'm going to say, where's my Patreon? There it is. I'm going to say what's up? Any post graveyard show topics. And I just sit in there live and we just have a grand time on the Patreon. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all tomorrow for at least 2 live streams. Peace.